This video I'm going to show you how you can use one of our 5000 or 6000 series NVRs to dewarp a 180 degree or 360 degree camera. In this video we're using our 180 degree 5 megapixel camera, and we have it connected to the first channel on our NVR, as you can see here in our 16 camera grid view. Now keep in mind, if you had a 4 or 8 channel 4000 series NVR, you would have to use the PC software to dewarp the video from your 180 degree or 360 degree camera, as we cover in another video. But in this situation we are using one of our 5000 series 16 channel NVRs, so we can dewarp the camera using our NVR. So we're going to go ahead and double click the channel to bring it into full screen. And you could also do the dewarping in the small grid view there. But now that we've brought it into full screen, we're going to want to make sure that's in mainstream so we get the best detail out of this. So we're going to hover up to the top of our channel here. We're going to see an M, and if you hover over it, it says switch stream. And if you were to click on that, you're going to see a mainstream, a substream 1, and a substream 2. We're just going to want to make sure that we set it to the mainstream. So we'll set it back to the mainstream here. And now this will let us go ahead and dewarp our camera. In order to get to the dewarping, we're first going to right click on our channel. It's going to bring up the menu here. We can see between PTZ and autofocus we have the fisheye. Now this is going to bring up the fisheye menu. At the top we have what's called the fit mode, which is basically just your installation mode. We can see we have a ceiling mount, a wall mount, or a flat surface mount such as a countertop or a table. So we can kind of cycle through these modes really quickly. In this particular example you can see we have it pointed out our front window here, which would be a wall mount kind of scenario. But we'll go through the ceiling mount views just in case you want to know more about them. So here we can see we have a full kind of screen view and then a line here. What this is showing you is that you can adjust the green view here. We have two line views here, then we can go back and forth on these views. We have a 4 grid view with a full screen at the top left and a 3 grid view here. We have a full screen on the left and 4 grid view on the right. We have 6 views here and then our main view on the bottom for adjustment, and finally 8 grid view with a 9th panel here in the middle, which is our full screen. We can move on to the wall mount options. Here we have the full screen. In this view we can also stretch it out. Now keep in mind you can pan down and up in this view. You get a lot more range of motion with a 360 degree camera. We are using a 180 degree camera. And here we can see we have again a full screen view on the right and a 3 grid view for the rest of the options. Full screen on the left, 4 grid on the right, and again the 8 camera grid view and a full screen in the middle. Now the surface mount options are very similar, if not the same exact, to the ceiling mount options. In fact, there is no differences there. And again, we'll just run through some of these options since we have this in a wall mount scenario. We'll just run through these options and show what you can do. Here we can see we have the full screen stretch. If I right click, I can go up and down in the view here. So we can right click and again go to fisheye to bring this menu back up. Here we have our full screen on the left and the grid view around it. And now keep in mind you can also control these views from here on the grid itself, or you can drag the shape and get the desired view. You can do this for each individual grid. And keep in mind they are also color coded. We have the yellow, we have the blue, and we have the green. And if you hover over these, it's going to highlight which view that you actually have selected, or if you hover them over here, it's going to highlight that view on your grid view here. So blue highlighted, yellow highlighted, and green highlighted. So we'll right click, go back to our fisheye menu. Again, we have the full screen on the left, all of the grids here. You can select them again. And then finally we have the 8 grid view with the full screen in the center. Now keep in mind you can also dewarp playback or recorded footage using one of these 5000 or 6000 series NVRs that support the dewarping feature. You don't have to go to your computer, you don't have to connect it to the software and access your recorded footage there. You can do it straight here from the NVR. So we're going to double click and keep this out of full screen view. It's going to go back to minimize view, and then keep in mind you can also modify these in the 16 grid view as well. It lets you move them, or also right click and click the fisheye and change your mode. The NVR will always remember the last view that you have set up. However, keep in mind it will still record it in the warped view, and we'll show that here in a second. So we're going to right click to get out of that menu. We're going to right click again. We could either go to the search button here, or we go to Main Menu, and then Search at the top under Operation. Now we can see we have our cameras listed here. We can select channel 1, that's our fisheye camera, and we can see we have recorded video here for our fisheye camera. And we can click on here to bring up our recorded video. As you can see, like I said, it will record it in the warped view, which is fine because on this particular NVR we do have dewarping in playback as well. And you can see that's notified over here by the fisheye icon. That's underneath our camera list. So we're going to click the fisheye icon. It's going to bring up our fisheye menu. Again, we have our fit mode, installation mode, ceiling, wall, and flat surface. And the modes are exactly the same as they were in live view. So you can take your recorded video in wall mode, you could stretch it out, look up and down, and do exactly the same things that you were to do in the live view mode. And then to stop playback, we just hit the stop button. That would stop our fisheye, and again, we just have our grid view because we have our camera selected here. And to get out of here, we could right click again and then right click again to get back to our live view. And as you can see, the NVR remembered the view that we had it last set for the live view. Hopefully this video helps. Thank you for watching.